Hey everyone, it's Mr. Hollywood, and today I am doing my MLB 2025 award slash reflections, where I'm going to give my picks for who I think deserves the main awards. And quick announcement, in the description is my Google Forms for the pitcher forms. So I want everyone to vote for their top 10 pitchers in order. First place will get 10 points, second place gets 9, third place gets 8, and then 10th place gets 1. And then I'll announce the 20 finalists on November 18th. So, let's get started with who I think the managers of the years are. And I think this is very easy. For the AL, it's John Schneider for the Blue Jays. For the NL, it's Pat Murphy for the Brewers. Now, for Rookie of the Year, and for me, there's only really 2 contenders per league. For the AL, Jacob Wilson is clearly the second best. He was amazing. However, the best for AL Rookie of the Year is easily Nick Kurtz. This is arguably a top 10 rookie season of all time. Now, for the NL, and this is a lot closer, it's between Cade Horton for the Cubs and Drake Baldwin for the Braves. A pitcher versus a catcher. For me, it's close, but I will give it to Cade Horton. I think Cade Horton deserves NL Rookie of the Year. However, Drake Baldwin was also great this year. So he'll probably finish runner-up, and I think he does deserve to finish runner-up. Now, the Cy Young. I will give my top 3 picks for the Cy Young per league. For the AL, my top 3, number 3, Hunter Brown. He was very good this year. However, I do think there were clearly 2 better. Number 2 is Garrett Crochet for the AL Cy Young. And number 1 for me, without a doubt, is Tariq Skubal. Skubal was just on a whole nother level in the AL for the pitchers. So I think he easily deserves AL Cy Young. Now for the NL, I don't even want to rip the Band-Aid. Number 1 for me is Paul Skeens. A sub-2 ERA in your second year. He finished with a sub-2 ERA both years he pitched. He has a sub-2 career ERA. He struck out a ton. Sure, he only had 10 wins, but wins don't really mean anything for me as a pitching stat, because wins are still very much so a team stat for pitching. But yeah, Paul Skeens was incredible. He easily deserves a Cy Young. Now, between second and third, I would say Christopher Sanchez deserves to finish second, and Yamamoto deserves to finish third. However, I feel like, even though I feel like Christopher Sanchez is still probably going to finish second by the voters, I could see why people might have Yamamoto finish second because of his World Series MVP. So I think that could help him a bit, but I still think Christopher Sanchez was a little bit better than Yamamoto. Because also, I'm only really valuing regular season anyway. But yeah, Christopher Sanchez and Yamamoto, both great, but I would put Christopher Sanchez slightly above Yamamoto for second place. Now, for the MVP, I'm going to start with the NL, because for me, without a doubt, number 1 is Shohei Ohtani. Nobody else really in the same ballpark. And I will give my top 5 for the NL, though I will have one honorable mention for the NL, and that is Trey Turner, who would be my number 5 position player, but for me, he would just miss out on the top 5. However, the top 5 for the NL, 5 through 2, because Shohei for me is just clearly number 1. Number 5 is Paul Skeens. I know a lot of people might be annoyed that I think a pitcher deserves to be top 5 in their respective league, but what Paul Skeens was able to do was just amazing, so I think he deserves top 5. But Trey Turner would be my number 6. Number 4, Kyle Schwarber. He's probably going to finish second because he led the league in home runs. However, because he actually had a relatively low average, and because he's a DH, I actually do think there were, obviously Shohei was better, and he's also a DH, and he led in pretty much every offensive stat, except for, I believe, RBIs and home runs, and also he pitches. However, there are also two others I think are above Schwarber. And number 3 is Geraldo Perdomo. I thought he was amazing. I think he was easily the best infielder in the NL. And overall, I just thought he was amazing. And I do see a lot of potential from him. Number 2 is Juan Soto. I know that some people were disappointed in him this year. I know that you could say maybe he didn't live up to his $700 million contract and that this was one of his weaker years. But a weak Juan Soto year is still an amazing year. He was back to the Juan Soto I know during the second half. He did have over 40 home runs. He did set his career best with home runs. And he stole over 30 bases, which I will definitely give it to him. And he led the league in on base of all the qualified ones. Because technically Will Smith had a higher on base. And if Will Smith didn't get injured, I'm pretty sure he probably still could have maintained the highest on base. But of qualified hitters, though, Juan Soto did have the highest on base. So yeah, I mean, Juan Soto, even if this is a down year, because it's technically the only year he didn't have a 400 on base, he still had over a 390. He still hit over 40 homers. He still had over 30 stolen bases. So yeah, I mean, this is not a year to be ashamed about at all. He is clearly, for me, the second best player in the NL this year. And then, of course, like I said, Shohei is number 1. Now for the AL, I will have 2 honorable mentions, and that is Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Nick Kurtz. Both are great first basemen, and both had great seasons. However, to me, if I'm actually being honest, I think Vlad was a little bit better. Because I know Nick Kurtz, if you look at his offensive stats, he did actually do better than Vlad in a few stats and way less at bats. However, because Vlad played the whole season, I mean, I just think Vlad was a bit better than Nick Kurtz. Also because Vlad has great defense. But they are still both amazing, and for me, they would both just miss out on my top 5. Now, the top 5 for the AL, number 5 is George Springer. This was an amazing bounce-back season for George Springer. I thought he had a great year. You could argue this is the best year of his career, and he did carry the Blue Jays, in my opinion, this year. But to be fair, Vlad also did a lot of work, but I mean, George Springer in the regular season carried. Now, in the postseason, Vlad was a different level. But, I mean, George Springer did still hit the go-ahead run in Game 7 of the ALCS. And that was, in my opinion, the best Blue Jays moment since Joe Carter in 1993. But yeah, George Springer had an amazing bounce-back year. Number 4 is Bobby Witt Jr. Now, he didn't put up the insane numbers that he put up last year, but he still had a great year. He still led all of MLB in hits. He still plays amazing defense. So yeah, overall, Bobby Witt Jr. had a great year, and I would say he's 4th best in the AL. Number 3 in the AL, Jose Ramirez. So yes, I am agreeing with the top 3 for the finalists, as the writers do. And, I mean, it's obvious Jose Ramirez will finish 3rd, because there's no way he's going to finish above the top 2. However, he still had a great year. I am very happy that he ended up being a finalist. I mean, Jose Ramirez is a contender for most consistent player of the last 10 years. Like, I still feel like Jose Ramirez doesn't quite get the respect he deserves. Because even though I think he's, I mean, by a long shot the best third baseman, I would just say he's a top 5 player in all of MLB. So yeah, Jose Ramirez, he's amazing, and he is, in my opinion, the 3rd best in the AL this year. And the top 2, this might be the closest MVP race in a while. This is definitely going to be the big topic of discussion for MLB fans. Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh for MVP for AL. I'm just going to be very honest. I want Cal Raleigh to win. And I think the writers are probably going to give it to Cal Raleigh. I think it's like a 60%. The writers will give it to Cal Raleigh, and 40% they'll give it to Aaron Judge. However, I am going to stay true to who I actually think deserves it. I think Aaron Judge deserves it a little more than Cal Raleigh. I know Cal Raleigh had a 60-homer season as a catcher, which is amazing, and he plays supreme defense. However, Aaron Judge had like another top 10 hitting season of all time, He batted over 330. Now, he did miss some time. However, he still had over 50 homers. And he still plays really good defense. So yeah, even though he missed a few games, Aaron Judge was still amazing this year. And to me, he deserves the MVP for the third time in 4 years and second time in a row. So that's my MLB 2025 awards reflection. Feel free to share who you think deserves each award down below in the comments. And don't forget to vote for the pitcher fan voting. I will actually only do the fan voting if I get at least 20 people to vote. So yeah, just remember, top 10 in order, and I'll announce the final list on November 18th. Now, thanks for watching, and peace out.